I apologize for the YouTube viewers because always the first 2 minutes of me is getting my stream set up and talking about social media. So bear with me. I'll get to the actual stream here in about a minute or two. So let me see. Looking at waiting for Twitch to confirm I'm either online or not. Still looks like it's still saying offline, but it's not. Just okay. It looks like I am online. That's good. Um, Let me do some social stuff like tweeting. Um, okay. Okay. And we got about a minute to go, so I'll let folks roll in. Yeah. So didn't have time to make more coffee today, so having a little bit of grapefruit juice. It's gonna have to do. I think everything's looking good so far. Just waiting for noon to start. Okay, my clock says 12 o'clock, so let's get started. Okay, so hi, I'm Joshua, and today is what September 11th, 2016, and today I am working on my video game project. It is a video game called Delver. It is a procedural first-person roguelike, and it's a passion project. There are two of us working on this game, and we work on this game exclusively in our free time. So that means sometimes development goes slow depending upon how life goes. But we've stuck with it, and we've stuck with it for almost 3 years in my case, and even longer for Chad. So to give you a kind of idea of our roles, I do the majority of the content. So everything visual you can see. So everything from the UI to the characters to the environment to the effects. That's what I own, largely in part, and that's what I will be doing on this stream. Everything else, like all the programming and a lot of the gameplay design, the business stuff like that, is handled by Chad. Um, and yeah, we are it, and we work on this when we can because we love it. And today I'm going to make art. But yes, I do have something of big news. So today is our self-enforced cutoff for the update, which means that whatever I get done today, tonight we're going to be making a new build, and that should be updating either tonight or tomorrow. So that's good news. The new update should be out very soon. I'm very excited. It has been pretty close to 1 year since we last updated, and that is large in part to me taking about a year off to spend time. Well, my wife and I have a child, so I spent the last year supporting her through the pregnancy and taking time to help, raise him when he was a newborn. And now I'm a stay-at-home dad, so that's what I do the majority of my time. Um, so yeah, so I took some time off, but we're trying to get back to a regular update cadence. So this update should be landing shortly. So it looks like people piping up in chat. Chris says hello. Hello, Chris. Thanks for stopping by. Quest Wizard says hello. Hello, Quest Wizard. Dr. Kegel. Uh, hello. Thank you for popping by. I recognize pretty much all of you. So thank you for stopping by and watching me work. That's really cool. I was just letting folks know that this is going to be the last chunk of work before this next update rolls out. And I have been trying. Um, I've been trying really hard to actually create milestones and create issues and features, and those get assigned to milestones, so we can actually have an idea, um, hopefully, of what we can get done in a particular milestone and what the next couple milestones out look like. So that way we can better um, helps keep us on track and helps us estimate like what can be done. So generally on the um, at the top, I do my intro and then I kind of um, jump into like what have we done this last week, and I usually do that with a Git log. So I'll go ahead and do that now because we've been pushing really hard to get this stuff going. So I have a special, usually do a Git log one line, and I'm doing that now, but I have a special one that kind of, oh, how about I do it from a Git repository? That would be better. Um, so it's just a custom git log command that shows us what we've been working on, who's been doing it, and has a little bit of pretty printing so you can see a little bit better. Um, so let me see if I can. Okay, so as of last week, last Sunday, last stream, looks like Chad has improved the lighting. He has improved some of the trails off the magic missiles. Um, there was a bug reported that if you had a full inventory, um, when you try to buy something from a shop, you just lose the money. So we fixed that. So thank you to I think Richard, I believe, is the he or maybe not Richard, somebody I forget who. Um, his name escapes me. Um, but he reported this, I believe, on Steam, and I worked with him, and we're getting this fixed. It is in code, and it'll be out soon. Looks like Chad was also busy fancying up the magic missile particles. Um, so I started working on this. It's a set piece system. It's a way of us kind of using an L system type system to decorate areas of our dungeon. I'm really excited about that. Um, More work on the the shop item bug because I did a little. So once Chad checked in the fix, I did some testing on it just to make sure it really was fixed. And I noticed that if you bought one item from an inventory and your inventory, or you bought one item from a shop and your inventory was full, it would go ahead and drop it on the ground in front of you, and that was great. But the problem is when you're in a shop and your time is paused. So if you bought a second item from the shop with a full inventory, the two items would actually spawn directly on top of each other, and uh, the I would say the physics kind of freaked out because they just hovered in midair and you couldn't pick either of them up, so they were just frozen in space, which was like even not well. It's as bad as the original bug, so we came with a solution that basically we'll just drop them in a circle around the player. So that should fix that. So hopefully folks don't run into um, buying stuff from a shop with full inventory issues anymore. Um, so me tweaking the crusher sounds. And this is me building new rooms for the generator. Um, I did a new model, a new texture for all the spike traps in the game. So that applies to the new temple area that I've primarily been working on, but also in the dungeons, in the caves, wherever there's a spike trap, it's brand new and shiny. Um, Looks like some kind of Git issue right there. I think I miscommitting the model, not a big deal. Um, so traps used to be kind of a special case thing, and now in the dungeon JSON file, you can just define a list of prefabs that the game considers traps, and the editor or the engine will use that when generating the dungeon. The thing you have to be careful about this because it's not super smart. So if you put a prefab in there that's not passable, you could potentially block off part of the level you would want to traverse. So you got to be careful about that. You have to make sure the prefabs you can walk over. Another room. Um, so looks like I also made a variant of the spikes for temples, so they look special for the temple, which is cool. Um, New room, a new room. These rooms are awesome for the generics. I think they look nice, and I try to make them semi-generic, so if you see them a couple times, you don't really notice. But they are expensive. They take me anywhere between 1 to 2 hours to actually make. Um, This was an issue where sometimes you'd see textures from different tile sets, and hopefully that will address that. Um, um, we're seeing some audio issues if there are a lot of audio sources being played at once. So we're trying to cull distant audio sources so they don't play if you're not near them. I started adding, so building off of my set and set piece system, I started making some set pieces. So there's a spike set piece, um, touching up decoratable room areas. That's the, not deportable, decoratable, sorry. Um, that is just more on that room decoration system. I made a spike column trap, which is pretty cool. Um, so when you update rooms, you have to keep the generator.zip in lockstep, otherwise it just doesn't pick up the changes. So I forgot, so I just did a pass to fix the generator.zip. Um, more spike trap set pieces. I created a mixed traps room decorator. Um, this is where I increase room connectivity. So I'm going through and I'm adding areas where potentially you could um, go into rooms the generator isn't intending. So I'm being mindful and adding those spots so this will happen more frequently. And I've noticed it, it's not guaranteed every single room, but it happens frequently enough that I'm pretty happy with it. It feels special when you find it. Um, I'm also using my new room decorator system to actually create encounters, which is kind of cool. Um, this is fixing a bug where I found a spot where you could fall into and not get out of. This is really cool. I'm excited about this. Chad extended or he enhanced the breakable entity. So now when you break a breakable, it can fire a trigger, which is really exciting. Like right now, like the biggest thing we have is like crates. But what you could do is you can make like a barrel that when you break it, it could trigger like an explosion, or it could trigger a spawner that makes a spider or something crazy like that. So the trigger system is really powerful, and it's how we can get a lot of our custom behavior. So chat enabling that is really cool, especially if you're a modder. This is something that you might want to keep at least try to play around with. Um, this is just touching up the spike prefabs. I guess the collision blocks for the wall spikes weren't correct. Fixing more of the sound issues. I think yep, fixing more spike collision stuff. I added a really nice animated. At least I'm not an animator. At least not the best animator. I can't animate, but I spent some time to make a decent looping fire animation, and I put that in the brazier. You'll probably see that here in a little bit. I think it's nice. Um, this is me trying to fix the generator.zip. I guess I'd saved a room incorrectly, so I'm just restoring that. And then the room decorator system, um, it can combine trap parts to make a trap room. And there was one combination that it was creating that was totally unpassable, and it wasn't very fun. Like whenever I saw it, I'm like, oh man, this is like I'm gonna die. There's no way to get through it. So um, there basically I removed the least interesting part of that combination, so it can't ever happen. Look at chat real quick. Brass YTV says, nice, our books can do anything at any point. Um, it's not planned, because right now they're just considered like a decoration item. What would you think books should do? Maybe I should ask that question. Um, yeah, Quest Wizard is confirming that no pickup bug happened to me with a lot of mass buying arrows. Drop a bunch and they're unpickable. Yep. So that should be fixed with the same fix. Okay. Um, so I guess just to get started, I'll just kind of fire it up and I will play. I will play the game and I'll talk through some of the recent changes. I was just because like reading a Git log is only so interesting. I mean, maybe it's just nice kind of like overview of the changes so I don't miss any. Um, but I'll actually play the game and I'll talk through some of the stuff. Okay, so I did have latest, and let's run Delver. Maybe. There we go. Okay. And I'm just using the developer cheat codes to jump down to the area that I'm working on where I think is interesting. So the starts, I haven't added any starts. So um, when I first started streaming regularly, the starts were some of the first things I worked on. They haven't been updated since. They're kind of in a good place. I'm leaving them there. This is a new haul I made a few streams ago. And what I like about it is so it's basically it's kind of like this kind of dipping haul. Um, and I've added these kind of little side rooms that kind of act as like, I guess, tombs, but also put a little bit of loot, some junk back here. I want to put encounters on here, and I'll probably do that. But also here's the fire for the brazier. It's kind of at a low angle, so you really can't see it super well, but I think it works well enough to communicate that it's fire. Um, but with these, I'm trying to also increase connectivity. So like this one's kind of broken, so you can hop down into the room below. And up here, this will actually potentially, not in this case, but it could go, it could let you sneak into the room next to it, or rather, from the room next to it, you could come back into here. That's what I mean by increasing connectivity. Um, and then these are some of the spike traps I've been working on. This one's a pattern. Oh, so it's so the pattern is it has this X pattern that it'll block off half of the routes at any given time. So as you see it working there, like you can only go right there, and it'll flip over and you can only go left. And it's alternates in 2-second increments. The point here is it's not super lethal, but what it does is it kind of makes you pause for a second, and with a combination of enemies and other pressures, that hopefully it will make it interesting. And also the generator decided to drop a few spike traps in among these two, so that's just it's interesting when that happens. Just gotta be careful. Can I go? Yep. Okay, I can sneak by. Um, let me look at chat real quick. Ogolog says you can make the books into more powerful scrolls. I may do that, or I might just make a version of the scroll that just looks more powerful and just leave books to be just junk. Because that way the scrolls and like the scroll next tier up, they look visually similar, so you understand they do a similar function. Paradox Box says, I kind of fell behind on the development of this game, but when I had it installed on my phone, it seemed like the desktop version kept getting updates and the mobile remained dormant. Why is the desktop primary focus? Was my update bugged in some way? No, the the mobile version is behind, um, um, and I think there's a number of reasons for that. I'm not entirely for certain of all of them. Chad knows better than I. Um, for one, we just don't have like there are thousands of Android devices, and we can't test them all. And for some of the older versions, I think I can't remember if we've done it yet or not, but our backend, they require a higher version of OpenGL than some of the Android devices support. So we would break a lot of people's games. So we're in this weird spot on Android where we don't want to update because we'll basically break the games for people who already bought it, which is bad. But people who want to play the latest on their Android device can't. So we're trying to figure out a solution for that. And right now, Steam is the easiest for us to update. And since we are in early access, it's the best place for us to get a good feedback loop from our players. Looks like Zelexian says, if they were like scrolls with multiple uses, that would be neat. Yeah, that might be doable. Yeah. Okay. I'm just kind of looking. This is a crusher trap room decorator thing. So it just has a little pattern it does. Oh yeah, here's an instance of where it's combining two traps together, so that this floor spike trap is one part, and then the interior spike column trap is another. So it basically has a list of like outer ring traps it can place, and it has a list of inner ring traps that it can place, and it just kind of when it decides it wants to build one of these rooms, it kind of picks from those two, which is kind of fun. You know, I can kind of follow this around. Um, I just don't want to lose track of it. Yeah. Again, it's not. I mean, it is lethal if you get caught up in it, but mostly it's trying to make you think about like positioning and timing. Um, again, because on its own, it's not super tough, but when you start throwing enemies in the mix, it will get difficult. Yeah, here's a good you can see the new fire effect pretty good in this room. There's lots of braziers everywhere. Big fire temple room. And then yeah, this is kind of catching you up. A lot of stuff, some of the stuff was back in, so you're not going to see it. And I'm going to try. Let me think. I want to tweak some of the generator stuff. What else do I want to do? Because for those of you who missed it, today is the last day for me to get anything in before the update comes out. So I have to be kind of um, tactical. And I've been talking your ear off for about 20 minutes now. So let's start actual development work. Um, yeah, Paradox Boxes, thank you for the explanation. Yeah, no worries. We're trying to figure out a good solution for the Android issue. We haven't abandoned it. We're just trying to figure out the best way to go forward. Um, Looks like Chris said the stream crashed for him, which is not good. Da, 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 da. Dr. Kegel says code freeze tomorrow. It should be code freeze probably later today. Because I'm gonna do my stream, get some work done, and then I'll probably spend time with my family because I like my family. Um, uh, uh, Quest Footer says this makes me want to put together some lava caves to go before the temples. Um, yeah, no, I am kind of mixing the temple with lava caves, but yeah, I mean, for the modders, there's gonna be a lot of new stuff to play with, so I'm excited to see what you folks do. Um, Chris is suggesting books could have random lore. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about random lore. It's kind of, it's okay. Um, I'd rather try to do as much storytelling as I could through just pure environment and maybe gameplay. But that's a harder thing to do. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to, um, so I want to play with the gen info of the generator of the undead info.dat. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, so for each tile set, we can decorate um, we can add these things called gen infos, and basically it is an entity that will get placed on a certain floor texture. And as you can see, it is placed on floor texture number 8 of the temple atlas. There's a 0.11% chance of it getting placed, and it is a sprite with this texture, which happens to be rocks. So what I want to do is I want to spice up the lava a little bit. So if you notice, I think the editor should run this step, I believe. So if I open up, say, hall number 1, yeah. So when I hit play, you'll notice that like grass and rocks pop into the scene, and when I stop playing, they go away. And that is that gen info working, and they're different each time. These are purely cosmetic things that we don't care if they're the same every time. So what I want to do is we have some stuff for the lava. We have these little like dust motes that kind of rise up out of the lava, and then we have these lava balls that shoot up every now and again. So I want to add those to the gen info, so the engine will just kind of dynamically place these for me. That way I don't have to worry about them placing them by hand, and that way they always look a little different, which is nice for variety's sake. So what I need to do is I need to figure out what texture this is, what atlas it comes from, and what I want to place there. So I will just go ahead and get started by copying one of these. So this one places spider webs. Actually, I want to make sure I grab one that places on the floor. So grab that, copy that. I'm going to go to the bottom of this JSON object and paste. And this is these are, I think we called them lava motes. And motes is just a word for like the little dust speckles that float in the air. And this will spawn on lava floors. Um, and the thing about lava and water is it's kind of a special case. Um, it has to be from a certain atlas, and the engine just knows about it. Because if you create your own sprite sheet and you create a water texture, the engine's not smart enough to figure that out, right? So you have to. Um, these are just kind of special at this point in time. So I'm going to open up just the master texture uh, sheet, and it looks like it should be, that's index 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, I believe, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so that should be right. So this should spawn on floor text 24 of texture atlas, and internally we call this T1. If you want to know about texture atlases, it should be in the in data. It should be, I think, wall textures. Yeah. So this is called T1 for texture sheet 1, and it uses just the main texture sheet, and that's what we want to decorate on. And we don't want to spawn a sprite of a rock, because this is what it was. We want to spawn a a a lava moat particle system. So what I can do is just fire up the editor real quick. And then I will place a prefab that is a particle lava moats, and then I'll just right click to JSON, and it's pretty simple. It's just I just want to spawn one of these whenever we see lava on the floor. Okay, so the editor should show this. Let's look at chat. Yeah, Dr. Kegel says asset freeze. Yeah, asset freeze, code freeze is tonight. So we shouldn't be making any more changes until the builds get built and sent out. And then I may keep on working on a few things I want to tidy up that just won't make it into this update, unfortunately. So right now I'm hitting play, and I'm just going to look at the lava and see if I'm spawning any moats. And it doesn't look like it. Another thing I can do is I can really crank up the chance. So instead of being 11%, I can just make it 100, which was kind of overkill, but it should definitely be everywhere at that point in time. Oh, what I messed up is this info.dat. It lives in generator undead info.dat. So this is something that needs to be zipped up for the generator to actually pick up. And I actually asked Chad, why do we have a zip file with all of the content? And apparently it is a workaround for Android so that we can dynamically load stuff. Is the explanation I got. So it's just kind of a workaround issue. It's not a grand design or anything. So I'm gonna copy this new info.dat over here that has our definition on how to decorate the lava moats. And then let's fire up the editor and see if we have any success. Let me think. Chris is suggesting let the community write the books. Maybe. I mean, people can certainly make mods for that stuff. It's not impossible to do. Agolog says, I was playing it recently and it's a little unfair on the interstitial levels. There's one with the hooded shop, and once I got the orb I was heading out, I climbed up the ladder and walked about 10 paces before the mob spawned all around me. So yeah, so the reason that one is so hard is we don't, there's too many bottlenecks, right? The level design needs to be improved to allow for more maneuverability. Because when you do grab the orb at the end of the game and make your way back out, we will spawn enemies around you as kind of a challenge. It's just how I guess at this point in time, it's how we've always done it. We may want to rethink it in the future, but I don't know. That's kind of outside of the scope for version 1.0. But I do want to go back through to those levels and just widen them out a little bit so you don't get stuck like that. Dr. Hegel says, "Why does the engine spawn lava particles? It should know where lava is best." Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm telling it to spawn on lava. This is how we hook it up. Because a lot of the engine is data driven. There's not a lot of special logic actually living inside code. Yeah, this might be a little heavy. This is an 11% chance. I should probably tone it back a little um, because these particle effects do have a wide radius of effect. So I'm gonna try. Let's try halving it. Um, let's take it from 11 down to maybe 5% chance and see what that looks like. And this is what a lot of development is just trying to pick magic numbers that look right when I actually play them in the editor. Because procedural it's a hard thing to wrangle and make it do exactly what you want it to do. And sometimes if the procedural stuff goes a little crazy, but it's interesting, I'd rather keep that than have it be okay and then boring a lot of the times. So yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. You can definitely tell something's going on. Um, let me see. Oh, I don't want to fiddle too much, but I'm going to bump it up between, let's say, 7.5. I'm going to call it good. I'll look at it, but I won't change it because I need to move on to more interesting things. Cool. That might be too much. I don't know. I just told you, I guess I'm not gonna overthink it. So, ah, okay, I'm gonna put it at 6 and just not look at it. Call 6 good. Okay, so now I want to make the same thing, but I want to do the um, that we call it a lava fountain. So I'll copy this. And those should be even more rare than these. Okay, so call these lava fountains. And basically, these are just lava blobs that go up and down. Um, it needs to spawn in the same floor texture. For the time, I'm going to crank it up high just to make sure I get everything done correctly. And then I'll lower it back down. And I want to spawn the prefab, not lava motes. So I'm going to, in my prefabs list here, I'm just going to search for a fountain. Yeah, it's called lava fountain. So I can just say spawn a lava fountain here. And then I need to update my zip file. Yep. And let's give it a launch and see what happens. Um, uh, Oglog says thanks. Yeah, no problem. I really appreciate when players give us feedback because the nature of the beast is like I generally only really scrutinize the particular thing I'm working on, and that looks good. I'll leave it like that. But no, sometimes I only really scrutinize the thing I'm working on, and I kind of forget about the overall picture. So it's really nice that players kind of pipe up and say, "Hey, Joshua or Chad, these need tweaking." Um, so thank you for making that. I knew about it, but thank you for reminding me to fix it. Um, Chris says the particle effect adds a lot. Yeah, we're trying to add just little touches here and there to kind of make it feel more alive and not just like it's kind of this very cold, empty space. So that's why we put a lot of these little grass particles, a lot of spider webs, particles in the air, just kind of trying to breathe life into this area. Um, Dr. Kegel says, if he recalls correctly, you can put the orb on the ground and push it, and then no new mobs spawn, which apparently I didn't know that. Uh, that seems like a very hard way to play the game, but it's interesting. Um, okay, so lava fountains. Let's make them. Let's try the same as the lava moats because they don't spread as much, and we'll see what that looks like. Yeah, that's still too much. I'm going to, yeah, see now here I don't have any, right? Yay, procedural generation. Um, I might back it off a little and call it good. Um, so how about 4? Call that fine. Um, okay, what else? What else? Generally, we also throw little decorator objects, so we open up the temple textures, our sprites. Um, so this was just copied over from the old sprite sheet, but maybe we could do, Chad suggested maybe doing a different type of grass. Um, we have mushrooms that we're not using here. There's our hanging roots and spider webs. Um, I might try to just do a quick little, like some sort of little fern frond plant thing. I'll give myself like maybe 15 minutes, and if I or maybe 10 minutes, and if I'm not liking it, I'll just bail because I have to be kind of shrewd with my time management here. So you guys can see what I'm doing. Make that small. I'm just going to try to just gather some quick ref um, off the Googles just to see, so I can kind of see what fronds look like. They're kind of these. So as I understand it, they're like baby ferns. I've seen them out here in the Pacific Northwest. Um, so I think they're kind of cool. They're kind of like otherworldly looking because they're kind of this curly, like I haven't quite opened yet fern. Um, and I think that kind of would look nice down here. Ba, 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 ba. Okay. A little Photoshop tip is you can actually control click on objects and it will just go ahead and select the layer the object lives on. So sometimes it's kind of nice just to quickly kind of, especially when you're doing something like this, just to kind of navigate the space. So what I'm doing is I'm going to try to draw maybe a couple of these and have them spawn like grass does. Okay, that's enough Google image searching. So Dr. Kegel suggests just just doing a color shift on the grass. Unfortunately, I like the green grass because it adds a nice like a color contrast. Because otherwise, if everything is very like red and orange, it becomes very monotone and it's just not as interesting to look at. Which is why um, I kept the green grass. Because at first I did try to have like kind of a brownish grass, but everything felt very dull and uninteresting. So this, let me real quick. Sometimes in Find in Photoshop, just to instead of actually worrying about undo and redo, just work on a brand new layer. 'Cause sometimes I go beyond the undo stack, and that's frustrating. So to kind of combat that, I just create a new layer and work on that. So this thing should have kind of this shape to it, right? Let's see. Uh, it's just so, the thing is, it's so complicated. It's hard to kind of because rendering a pixel like rendering pixels, you have to simplify shapes, and um, you have to drop some details just because you can't show them. Here I'm just doing some AA. This just implies uh, what is the word I'm looking for? That it's like a subpixel precision of um, uh, uh, I guess form or shape. Um, is a way to think of it, I suppose. Here now, I started with this dark cell out, or it's called cell out, which means a selective outlining. Um, but it's too dark, and if you notice on the grass, it's dark at the bottom where it touches other dark colors, and then it's brighter up top because there's brighter colors that it kind of interacts with. Um, so I'm going to kind of brighten up everything a little bit. This is kind of just a taste thing. Some people, I mean, or even, it's even just a style thing too. Some folks really like the dark sellout, selective outlining. Um, just in this particular case, Delver, we didn't go for it. So I like this. It makes it look just a little. I don't know. I just like the effect that it looks. I mean, it's just taste. Chris says in New Zealand they call fronds koru, which is interesting. I did not know. That's cool. Um, koru. Okay, cool. Quest Wizard says another question he has is it possible to have multiple different keys yet? Like the one for the temple door, but it also has an ice door or the cold door example. No. Right now we don't. I don't believe we support that. The key for the boss door was a special case thing, and I believe we've removed it now. Um, I know we have conditional triggers, but I'm not quite sure what condition they're evaluating. I'd have to kind of poke around and in the code and ask Chad what exactly they do. Um, da, 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 da. So no no lock like lock and key puzzles aren't something we can support right now. Yeah, so Brass YTV is also confirming that when he works in Photoshop, he also uses multiple layers. Um, okay, that's kind of what that looks like. And they kind of have like, I can't do the little ones, but maybe I could do some of the fringe around it. Actually, I might just lift some of uh, just kind of draw um, some more leaves to kind of come off of here, like kind of like the grass, just to kind of give it a little bit of grounding, so it's just not like just kind of look like it's like an arrow that's stuck in the ground. So try to give it a little bit of make it look real-ish. Again, just kind of going through the same process of adding some AA, picking out highlights, and then kind of just trying to make it look good. Turn off my grid line so you can see it a little bit better. I kind of want to make that a little bit more, try and make it read a little bit better. That may work out okay. Trying to make sure I have some, just kind of going through, over the piece again, just trying to make it look nice. Okay. So let me just Control E, merge all that down, save it, and then let's go ahead and throw it in our generator. So I'm gonna look for where the grass exists. Grass. Yep. So we have decorative grass, and then blah blah blah. This gets placed on floor texture 8, which is let's look at the temple texture sheet because that's what it's decorating. So I don't need my frond reference no more. It's 048. That's correct. And this is decorative Koru. And the temple. I'll make it. So right now there's a 30% chance it pops up. So I will make it maybe a 10% chance. Maybe I'll cluster them in groups of 3 and spread them out a little bit more than grass. 6. And then this is texture not 1 but 2, I think. 0, 1, 2. Yep. So this is texture 2. And this is decorative Koru on temple floor. 8. Okay, so let's update our generator and see what it looks like. Yeah, Chris says anti-aliasing is often neglected by amateur pixel artists. It really helps describe a shape at such a low resolution. Yeah, I mean, of course, like when you're an amateur, like they're just. I try to keep this in mind because like I'm not the best pixel artist, but I don't know. I have a little pride in like the whole pixel art scene, and like it's a very technical art, which I enjoy. Okay, that's not right. What's going on? So it looks like it's pulling from the wrong texture sheet. It looks like it's pulling from, yeah, it's curious. Yeah, so AA is something you have to get used to. And especially, yeah, if you're not, I don't know, like, it's one thing because like you don't know it and you don't do it and it kind of looks okay. And then when you find out about it, you do a thing called pillow shading where you just apply AA, like kind of haphazardly, and it also doesn't look good. You have to try. It's a balancing act of appropriate AA texture. Okay, yeah. So what I messed up here is the thing I'm spawning itself. This piece of foliage also needs to come from the texture atlas temple, and I'll just fix these real quick so I can. So that way when I make changes, it actually should do what I want it to do. Okay. Oh, got too quick on the launch button there. I want to copy this back over. Mm-hmm. So Dr. Hegel said, I don't want to stop you, but players might see them as enemies. They open up and start attacking you or something because they'll only spawn in undead. That's true. I totally get that worry. But then again, I think it's kind of okay if this whole undead area, this temple area, feels a little foreign and like you've never seen stuff before. Um, uh, and nothing is generating, which makes me think I broke my generator. Okay, let me just undo all that stuff I did. So okay. So that should be what I want. Let me copy this back over. Um, yeah, Testicoil says next up mushrooms. I already have mushrooms, and mushrooms appear in the dungeons and the caves quite a bit. So I want each area to kind of have its own unique identity. Because I don't, if everything kind of has all the same stuff in it, it starts to feel samey. So I want it to each area to have kind of its own personality, if you will. So that is a little bit more work, but hopefully not a lot of work. Okay. And I think I'm messing it up because it's not Texture Atlas. It's something like Sprite Atlas? Um, yeah, let me just look at here and look for Atlas in here. Yeah, Sprite Atlas, not Texture Atlas. So that's what I was goofing up. So the Texture Atlas is used for textures on level geometry. And yeah, there's a Sprite Atlas right there. So for my Koru, I want the Sprite Atlas to be, let me just verify this. So it lives in data sprite sheets. It is called Temple Sprite. So that's what I want. Now my generator should not be broken if everything goes well. Let me just review my changes, make sure I haven't really messed things up. So my info.dat, it looks like it looks fine. If I remove this, does it fix my issue? Unless foliage has its own special. That might be the way to do it, actually. Now things are oh, because I've not been copying over my generator also, which would probably be a reason why things aren't updating. So let's copy that over and give it a spin. Yeah. Chad is saying, Joshua, you forgot to copy over the generator file, which is correct. You guys got me. Yeah, there we go. So grass is back. Sweet. And then the hanging moss is here where it's not supposed to be. Just out of curiosity, I want to make sure that is what I want it to be. So if I place, so I can place this grass group, I can ungroup it, and this is a foliage object. If I change this to what I want it to be, temple sprite, I want this guy. Actually, it looks nice in the grass too, but let's just see. So if I do a 2JSON, what does it look like? Just to make sure I'm not messing up the properties. So it is in fact sprite atlas temple sprite. Okay, cool. So sprite atlas temple sprite, that should be good. Let's copy this over and then run. Let me see. Tesla Coil says that the fire effect on the braziers is sweet. Thank you. Yeah. Um, again, animation is something I want to get better at, but I feel pressure to like on Delver really just focus on the things I'm good and fast at. But I took some time and actually made a decent fire effect, and I don't know. I mean, like I have animated in the past. It's something you have to kind of get back in the habit of doing, and actually, I think they look better with the grass, so I might just spawn them as part of the grass clump. So what I can do, I believe, is just lift this little spawn object right out of here. And this is just a list of things to spawn, so let's just spawn that. But I'm just going to do no. It's going to spawn a lot of them is the problem. Let's just see what it looks like. Just playing around, trying to find good values for things. Yeah, but the fun thing about animating a fire effect is, and it took me a while to get back into the groove of animating, but also what's cool at fire is, um, like you're animating the fire, but you're animating the negative space around the fire too, which is when I started thinking about that was really helpful. Um, yeah, I think that looks all right. Uh, I like it with, I mean, it has its own little patches of grass too. Yeah, I think it looks cool. It's definitely different. It might, is it too tall? I don't know. Um, I don't know. I think I'll just leave it by itself and I'll just make it rare and call that good. So let's not have it go with the grass. Um, let's just have it live on its own. Uh, let's make yeah 3, and then it's spread I think is okay, and then the chance 0.5. So it's not a very high chance. I mean, this is a 0.5 chance on every single floor tile. So once you know do the math and crank and figure out the actual probabilities, it's probably a little bit higher per room. You might get one per room. Not quite sure. Oh yeah, there's a lot. Oh, because I didn't update the info. I forgot to do that again. Yeah, that is one part about editing room pieces and the room infos is a little bit laborious, is remembering to update that. Everything else you can just update and it will do it on the fly. But not that. I'm just trying to pop in and see how frequently they do. Because if I make a, well, I just probably making them super rare. You never see them. Yeah, there's one there. Yeah, I think one every once in a while I think adds a little bit of flavor because if everything's kind of uniformly distributed, it doesn't feel as interesting. So that's good. What else? Decorating a place up. Um, Melo Jaeger says, "Hi, are you Melo Jagger? Are you good with Photoshop? I mean, I guess I can get done in Photoshop what I need to get done. So, sure. Um, maybe one more little thingy. And I'm out of grapefruit juice. Oh no. Yeah, let's fix. So I had been working on. So I'll show you what I've been working on. I wanted to do um, a really fancy torch, like the fire for the brazier. Right now, our torch code just doesn't support it. Because right now, how torches work, our torches are um, they're not an animation proper. They're an animation that um, the torch will randomly select a random frame at a random time to show. Because initially all the torches were 2 frames only. Um, uh, so I went crazy and I made this where you have like a little, I don't know if you can maybe make this big so big in it so you can see it. So I have this nice, I wanted this to be the wall torch for the new area, which is nice and fancy, but our we don't support it yet. So right now, just as a temporary thing, I'm just going to put in kind of just a very traditional style torch, and then when if Chad fixes this issue with the torches, I will just switch that over. But that might not make the update, but I can certainly put in this new torch here. And it's just going to be, I mean, very similar to the old torches. So sorry about that. The torches are weird too because the engine assumes they're a certain height if they get placed on the ground. So I got to make sure they're kind of low. Otherwise, they may if you spawn them on the floor, they might just be hovering in midair, and that might look cool, but that might also look just really weird. So let's do that. Let's flatten these. Let's open up the yeah. This is my fire animation. It's 8 frames. It was a lot of fun to make. It's very swooshy. It's not realistic. It is stylized, but I'm happy with how it turned out. And I'm just going to do something similar, uh, where we just because the thing is with this, I have to kind of keep in mind that it's going to be um, uh, randomly chosen at random times. So maybe just a simple back and forth would look okay. Um, very simple back and forth, apparently. So let's save that. To hook up new lights, at the top of the info.dat, you can add a spawn light. So if I look at how the dungeon does it, for example, they have a spawn lights, and it is a JSON object with a whole bunch of properties. I'm just going to copy it over wholesale, and I'm going to make sure that I put it correctly. I think it should just, it's a top level thing. So it should just go, yep, right above decorations and undead. So spawn lights, and I believe it is an array. Yeah, it's an array with a single thing in it. I mean, I guess potentially it could be more than one thing, but right now it's just one thing. What I want to do is, so the text animation start is 4, and the text animation end is 5, and the sprite atlas should be simple underscore sprite. That should be right. Cross my fingers. It should be correct. Um, let me just double check it before I get going too crazy. Um, again, part of making prefabs is just going into the editor and just placing stuff. So place entity, basic torch. On my torch, I want to change my texture from that to temple sprite, and it's gonna be this one. And so starts with text 4, ends at text 5. That should be fine. Let me just pop in and see what it looks like. It's probably not going to look great, but oh well. Yikes. It's not, it doesn't look to be animating at all. So if I add just a normal torch, it animates, right? Nope. I don't know. Okay, well, I'm just going to kind of mimic the way this torch looks. So even though it's not realistic, it still implies a similar functionality. So it is just something like this. And then I'm going to go to my particles. I'm going to take this orange color. And then I'm going to go orange, 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 orange. And then maybe, I guess how, I'm going to go here and grab my yellow. Then maybe yellow, 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 yellow. Save that. Let's update the, I can't remember if, I think the editor should show this. I believe. Let's test it. And if it doesn't, we can play the game and just check it out. So here, run the editor. If I just right click here, place a marker, torch, play. That's that torch. If I run the game, is it the same? Okay, let me see. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, so test the quail is suggesting that a quick way to make variation is just to flip it for sprites, just flip it, and that adds a little bit of variety. That actually might be a nice thing to do just in code, actually, rather than me doing it manually. Would be an option to say for this sprite, randomly flip it would be cool. So Zylexian says, what's my opinion on having a really overgrown area where your visibility is limited by tall grass and things of the sort? I mean, it could be cool. Um, I just I'm all about limiting visibility because I don't want really long straight open areas, but I just worry about it being too claustrophobic. Maybe if you add like we also enabled breakable sprites, so you can have breakable meshes and breakable sprites. So you could mix an area where you have to chop through stuff. That could be cool. Yeah. Ugh. 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 I don't like that flashing color. The other sprite just does what? I think it just changes in height. Um, sprites. Yeah. For right now, until I get the fancy one, I'm just gonna just wholeheartedly or just lift this. Not great, but I need something to be there that's not awful. Okay, so we should do a little squish and stretch, I guess. So this is 6 wide, this is 6 wide, so it should be wider. So I think alternating between like wide and tall should look all right. Um, and luckily I just changed the texture, so just reloading my old save file should be sufficient to see what it looks like. I'm also worried too that it's so much wider than the other torch that it actually clips into the level geo and doesn't look good at all angles, so I might have to make it smaller too. Yeah, that looks fine. Not great, but fine. Yeah. From the side. Should I change it? I don't know. Um, Also, it's so low too. So low. I'll move it up, and if we get stuff floating in midair, I guess that's going to have to be something we live with. Um, Looking at chat. Um, Dr. Kegel suggesting a drinking game that whenever I forget to copy over into the new generated zip that they drink. Uh, yeah, so for me, it is like 1 in the afternoon, so I shouldn't be drinking 1 in the afternoon on a Sunday. And I guess it just depends where you're geographically located at. Yeah, that looks fine. A little bit higher is good. Um, it clips a little bit, but so do the lanterns in the sewer area. And hopefully folks can just forgive me for it for the time being. Yeah. Um, it's just a hard thing because you need to push it out a different amount depending upon the torch. Um, I'm just worried that right now that there's a lot of gold and gold, but I guess that's okay because sometimes you get the gold on the rock, so the contrast is fine in some cases and not in others. Um, should I make it red like the other stuff or no? I don't know. I'm just gonna call it good. Call it good. Move on to something that's more critical. Um, Actually, let me commit my changes too, so I don't lose all my stuff. Okay, so adding temple decorations. Let's make sure we get all that stuff. Commit and sync. Cool. Right now, the wall torches look kind of odd, like they're just stuck to the walls as they are. Would it be possible to add a 2D wall holder that the torch is attached to? Um, yeah, they're talking about the shape of it. Yeah, I'm not super happy with it, but right now I just wanted it to look different enough. I don't know. Um, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he could push it out, but I'd really like to be able to somewhere maybe have a property here that I could specify to say how far out to push this particular torch so it looks better. Um, that's all right. What next? So yeah, I need to enable enemy encounters. So I kind of left them turned off for now. So I need to turn on enemy encounters, and I need to actually add the random generation back. Unfortunately, I don't think the randomly created rooms are as nice as the ones I make, but they do provide nice variety. So first, let's do um, so my temple room sets are just a bunch of nesting prefabs. So I want to have a encounter set 4x4, and I will make that just part of the basic room set. So you're either going to get a room, or you're going to get an encounter, or a trap. And the encounter is interesting. The way I created it is that it basically will drop, like say 4 enemies down in a spot in a room, but it can recurse. So it may drop 4, it may drop 8, It may drop 12. It may drop, I mean, infinity, but it has a higher and higher, less likely chance each time it recurses. So sometimes you get these kind of really big, crazy rooms, and sometimes they aren't so crazy. Also, let me just tweak something real quick just to make sure they're not super broken. Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to my encounter, and then I'm gonna go down to where they're actually defined, and then in my here, I'm gonna say spawn chance of 0.5. So there's not always 4 monsters. Sometimes you're guaranteed to have 2, and sometimes up to 4. So that way it has a little bit more variety that way as well. Let me just run this in the editor real quick and make sure that it kind of behaves how I think it should. Because there's always that chance that editing these properties by hand, I mess something up. So I just like to double check. So temple sets, and I'll add a encounter set piece 0. That should be the one. Actually, let me give myself some room to breathe so I can see how many actually spawn too. Okay, and then plate. Looks like we got 3, 2, 3, 2. So 4 actually should be fairly uncommon, but it should happen. Yep, so that's behaving like I like. So now, sometimes in those rooms where traps get generated, we'll have an encounter instead. So let me play real quick and make sure that I hook that up correctly. So Dr. Kegel says, the problem with the sprite, there's already a color gradient shadow, which is irritating for a lamp. Yeah, I mean, yes, so lamps should have some shadow because there's a light source directly on top of it. But I guess it just depends, you know, the strength of that light source and how much is occluded from the light source and how much is not. But I get what you're saying. Okay. So this is probably why I start to die a lot more often because there's a bunch of enemies in the game now. So this room, it looks like it was an encounter. Where did they go? Oh, they went there? Interesting. Yeah, it looks like this room is also an encounter. Yep. Whoa. Whoa. Crap. Okay, so that is working. I'll just run one more time just to make sure my traps are generating and that I haven't broken everything. Dr. Hegel's saying that the bowls go from left to right and not top to bottom. But in theory, the bowl shape should include the light from the source actually falling on it entirely. So it should only really receive like bounce light or light from other sources. And also to give myself a fair chance, let me level myself up a couple times so I'm just not failing miserably. weapon, and some armor. Okay, let's see if I last much longer. Oh, crap. I did not notice that. I noticed that one. Okay. So I probably should add encounters to areas like this. Uh, not a full-on room decorator, but I can still add the like the encounter decorator piece, like here too, would be a good candidate for it. So I need to go through and add those. Oh wow, yeah, this generated me some encounters. And he is, oh yeah, I'm having a decent run. Okay, and looks we got, yep, that guy died and got some meat stuck there. So maybe I should make the rooms more heavy on the traps and then place some encounters by hand so I know that the encounters do happen. Because not every room tile has a room decorator in it. Okay, there we go. Yep, that's cool. Um, these little things here should make little happy accident connections every once in a while, but not often. Um, cool. So let's do the things I was talking about. So I'm going to go up here and let's see. So from this list, so basically this just is just a list of what to spawn at this for this given prefab, and how you can control percentages is just by duplicating elements in the list. So 2/3 trap, 1/3 encounters, and then I'm going to manually place these in counter set 4x4s in some rooms. Just so that there are encounters, but not always in that same spot. So I'm just going to do a quick pass on all the rooms and add where I think they should be. We'll just start alphabetically. So corners 1. Okay, this one already has the room decorator in it because I created this trap. So let's go to the next one. 2. Okay, so this one does not. So what I'm going to do is I can right click, place entity, temple set, and then not the temple room set is the root of all this generated stuff, and then it starts selecting not recursively, but there are rules to select further down to get to the actual final entity that gets spawned. So I want an encounter set 4x4. It looks like I clicked the wrong thing. So temple set, encounter set 4x4. That should be correct. Let me just double check it. So my encounter sets shouldn't have traps in them. Yeah, it does not. So I just misclicked. Okay, cool. So now this sometimes, well, this should have enemies in it now, all the time. The number of enemies will vary. Try to put myself over here so I can see what happens. Yeah, that guy just immediately drops into the lava and dies. Why are they? Maybe something's wrong with the placement of the encounter set stuff. It's down here. Yeah, so they have weird. I'm not sure this last position thing is actually working correctly. Let me just test it in the editor real quick. I should be able to basically create like little monster holes, and they should line up with that, right? Maybe. Place entity, temple sets, and counter set 4x4. let's do this first one. This simple encounter set piece one is the non-recursive version, and I'm going to line it up with these and just drop the floor down, so they should always spawn here, and that way I can verify that their spawn location is correct. Because with static props, it's a little bit easier to verify that they spawn in the right spot because they don't move, but these guys will start moving immediately. So let's see what happens. Yeah, they seem to. The ones that do spawn seem to spawn in the right spot. Is it the recurring one that is the issue? Maybe the recursion is changing the position for it somehow. Temple sets, encounter set, piece one. Yeah, this position is weird. Okay, so that's not right. I need to fix that so it's not all messed up. Let me just, if I just set this to 0, 0, does that fix how this one's placed? So place entity, temple sets. So our list is getting long, so it's harder and harder to. I mean, we should add scrolling to this eventually because we're going to run out of space. So this should be the recursive one. And that actually did. So yeah, so I guess the location was off, so sometimes monsters would get spawned into um, the ceiling or into other spots they're not supposed to. And also, to kind of work around the fact that they get spawned in the same spot, I just have the recursion just go up in the Z a little bit. So they kind of get stacked on top of each other. Let me make sure I'm going to make more ceiling space to make sure they're not stuck in the ceiling. Make sure that my little strategy is actually working. Yeah, so looks like I did give them enough room to actually navigate and get unstuck from each other. Whoa, holy crap. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing I want is sometimes the generator does something crazy and you get a lot more than you bargained for. So that's good. So I think, let me see. I was working on the level pieces and I didn't actually save that one. So I think that was corner number 2, if I remember correctly. So corner 2. Yeah, that was the correct one. Um, yeah, let me see. So, Quest Wizard says the room's gonna be fun. Skill images are pure evil sometimes. Yeah, so I like the fact that it can generate. It generates usually, I don't know, 2 to 4, but I mean it can generate a ton if the RNG really is hating you. So place temple sets in counter set 4x4. See, like right there, that would have generated like up to 16, which is insane. Um, but that should be a pretty rare thing. So it should be like pretty well, you should be guaranteed at least 2. You have a 50% chance of 4. You have a 25% chance of 6. You have like a 12% chance of 8, thereabouts, you know? So you're not going to see that many all the time, but definitely craziness can ensue. So that seems to be working better. That they're not getting spawned into the lava. Are they getting spawned into geometry though? Yup, because they're spawning exactly what they're supposed to now. So let me just kind of nudge them like right here. So that way, actually, something like that. I think they should move off the movers. So let's just make sure that they behave fine once they get placed in the world. Yeah, yeah, that's good. Save it, ship it, file, save, file, open. Let's go to the next one. Corner 3. This one already has a room decorator in there, so there's already a 33% chance that will be an encounter, so let's leave it as is. Um, so next, halls. The inns already should have enemies in them. That's the wrong hall though. Want to open up hall 1. Just try to stick with a pattern. Ooh, this is pretty narrow. Ooh, what I can do is I can just place it right here. No, it's 4 by 4, so it won't fit there very well. Yeah, I'll just leave it alone. Open hall 2. Yeah, now this one definitely has room for an encounter prefab in here. So let's. Oh crap! Oh wait. Oh no. I think I placed the last one incorrectly. So let's go back to corners. Corners 2, and this is. Actually, this is a prefab, so I placed that one correctly. So file open, and I was at halls 2. Is that right? Yeah, halls 2. So I need to make sure to place these as prefabs, not as entities. So that way, if I make changes, the changes will propagate. So temple sets, encounter set 4 by 4 is what I want. And just kind of stick it nice in the middle there. Let me save that. Let's open up the next one, which I think is hall 3. Yeah, and this one I definitely want to have encounters in. Um, None of them are really big enough though, so I'm just going to manually place some. So like monster, uh, monster. And unfortunately, these are always going to be in the same position with a fixed number, but um, that's just going to have to be okay for now. Okay, so there's plenty on that one. That was hall 3. Let's go to intersections 1. So we can see there's already a room decorator placing a trap here. So let's go intersection 2. So yeah, so here there's no room decorator, and I'll just go ahead and place a few um, monster markers here. Okay, save. That was intersection 2. File open. Intersection 3. Yeah, this one. So this one has 2 room decorators in it already. So I'm going to leave it alone because here it generated 1 trap and 1 encounter. So that's cool. It's doing its job. And then try intersections. Okay, that one is just a boilerplate one, which is not in the game. I think I only have 2 try intersections right now. This one has a room decorator in it, which is good. And this one also has a room decorator. So I think we're done doing that little pass. Actually, was there some earlier ones that I skipped because I didn't place them manually? So let's do halls 1. Yeah, this guy can actually have some just manually placed. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, just try to bump up the monster count a little bit so it's interesting and challenging. But you know, obviously, like during development, it's nice to have them down so I can actually navigate the level and do my work. So let's look at. So I have quite a few of these changed. So let me just make sure to update uh, my generator, otherwise it doesn't count. So let's just start at the top. So I updated corners, and corners number 2. I updated, and I updated halls. And I updated halls 1, 2, 3. Okay. And I updated intersection number 2, it looks like. Cool. And then actually, I think now that I've added so many encounters, I might also tweak the this again. I might add just another, so maybe it's a 25% chance of generating an encounter because we already have rooms that have dedicated encounters. So that should be good. Let's give it a play. Make sure I haven't ruined the world. Um, let me see. Flying Fish's suggestion doing something similar to Doom where having monster closets. Yeah, I'd love to have monster closets, and it's something I can certainly do with the trigger functionality. Um, Basically, yeah, on trigger you can have movers move. I can also have things spawn in like in Quake. I may do that. It all really depends, right? I just have uh, a little bit of time left before we hit asset freeze, so I'm just trying to make the most of it. But yeah, having really interesting things happen in those room areas is kind of what I was focusing on to add variety. Um, Quest Wizard says rip run right there. So Quest Wizard? Are you saying that I've added too many monsters? I'm trying to figure out like what's a good balance. So I'm just gonna level myself up a number of times. I forget. We assume you're like level 6 or 7, I think, by the time you die. I'm not sure. I try to give myself some okay stuff. Not the best, not the worst. Okay. Okay. Sidepole says, "Hello, is this your own level editor too?" Um, yeah, yeah. So it is our own engine and level editor that Chad has written himself. So this is a trap. That's cool. Uh, this is a trap because they should have a 75% chance of spawning. That's cool. Here's an encounter because this is an encounter room. I think that level up was timely. And a lantern is nice to have, I guess. Put that in my offhand and not my primary hand. Okay. Yep, there are baddies here. Yeah. That might be a little too easy. I don't know. Um, but it was fun. I mean, it's nice that that little moment happened, I guess. And I had the actual wand to take advantage of it. So it's a cool moment, I suppose. Yep. Trap room. No happy connect. Oh, ow, ow. Okay, so yep, going on. Guess I'm going this way. Let me take a look. Okay. Yep, that's the way to go. Whoa! Ouch. Okay, so not that way, not that way, but this way. There we go. Into the lava with you. Okay, this is the next level down. Let's go down to the next level. So yeah, playing through, talking through. I might not get to questions till just a little bit. Yeah, I like the new the Koru. That's cool. Yep, here's that hall area with the monsters coming out of the sides, which I think works. There should be monsters down here that kind of come at you. Did I not put monsters down here? Maybe they're up here. Oh, they're there. See, I don't know if the amount of monsters I added is overpowered or not. I seem to be doing okay at having little accidents every now and again, which is what I want. Um, Crap. Okay. Okay, knock him into the spikes. That's all right. I mean, I want it to be hard. I don't want it to be impossible, but I do want it to be difficult. Quest Wizard is suggesting make a 2x2 encounter list. Yeah, I'd love to make. So I had um, this idea of having 4x4, 4x4 rooms that could be composed of other 4x4 rooms, which might be composed of 2x2 rooms, you know, and have this kind of this crazy like structure. But again, this is I guess a place where my ambition is kind of bigger than the time I actually have to do it. So maybe off stream, I'll continue to work today and I'll crank as much as I can get done. So yeah, because I think 2x2 encounters and 2x2 traps would be a cool thing to kind of mix together. Um, yeah, so Questioner says it should be fine now that he's seen it, but the RNG is on your side with health level ups. Pick your crazy. Yeah, yeah, and I don't mind things like I think the RNG is a good thing to have because sometimes like things go terribly and you're like, oh man, I got robbed. That was a terrible run. And sometimes the RNG is totally like on your side and these things are lining up and it's a more memorable event. So I'd rather have like higher highs and lower lows due to the RNG rather than just kind of like a vanilla like blah experience. Um, so Chris is saying, have you considered having the level up screen not pop up and let the player choose when to spend points? It can be a bit jarring. Yeah, that is a good point. Like it is in the middle of combat. It's just like, hey, make a decision right now. Um, because yeah, it does certainly break the flow. Um, Again, we're aiming to be a little bit more of a lightweight kind of casually RPG um, roguelike. So I think maybe for people who aren't familiar with the genre and spending points, that it's nice to make them. I don't know. It's definitely something to think about, and I'd like to maybe kick around some ideas. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, again, I'm saying, well, at least we can't really do a lot of huge gameplay changes right now because we are committed to shipping the update within the next day or two, and then ultimately shipping Delver. And the fewer engine gameplay changes we can make, the faster that will come. Because right now it's mostly just on me cranking out content. Um, let's make some traps. I want to have more trap variety because right now, if you look at my mixed trap set, um, mixed trap set outer, if you look at mixed trap set outer, I think there's only one. And that's not a lot of variety. One is not a whole lot of variety. Yeah. So right now it is just the spike trap set piece two. So let's make another trap set piece that is the outer spike trap set that can be combined with the middle trap set to make interesting things happen. Okay. So let me just again create a little default room to kind of build in. So like right now, you can look at when I place let's say spike trap set 0, it places a 4x4, you know, a little grid of traps. And this one happens to have a certain pattern to it. So what it does is it always will, let me add some lights so you can actually see what I'm doing. Lights, ambient, crank up the range. So what it does is it will always like block off half because basically the 4x4 room should be traversable. You should be able to get through it, and you really shouldn't occlude much of the area. So this just basically it kind of narrows where the player can go at any given time. And I think that's somewhat interesting, um, but it's not an outer trap. Um, I've also had a spike trap set piece of one. Now this one, if I remember right, so what it does is the corner pieces are always up, and then it alternates in between um, like one side being up and one side being down. The problem with this is sometimes depending upon what gets generated in the middle, if you, for example, the combination I was worried about was when we have there's a thing called a spike column, uh, which makes the area not traversable anymore, and it's not fun. So spike column trap, and then this, yeah. So this would spawn directly in the middle, and basically it prevented you from being able to go anywhere. Oh, yeah. Well, this rotation works out better, but yeah, it was rotating such that you couldn't actually um, make it through, which is not fun. So I want to have something that potentially is still usable even with this in the middle, right? So it's a little bit harder to do. I'm thinking about having like one that has every other alternate back and forth. And I think that could be potentially interesting. So let me just clear out that. Let me add as an entity temple set. Let's do the spike trap set one. And I think I actually need to play with the timing on this. Yeah. Okay, so what I want is ungroup this and then get rid of the corner ones because they're always up. And I need to start just kind of moving these around. So, so for example, this needs to go down here. This one needs to go here. Let me see what that looks like. Okay, so then this one goes here. Yep. Okay, so then this one goes here. Okay, so then I think I have enough to finish out the pattern. So it should go something like this. Goes here. That one goes there. Like that. That's okay, and then so this should be alternating every other. And if I put that spike column in the middle, it still should be traversable. So I can kind of is it? Oh, this spike column trap is cool, but it's causing me headaches. Um, was I greedy? Is it better to just to kind of slide through like that and then wait to? Is that interesting or is that too specific? I'm curious to see what you guys think. Um, but I think I like it well enough to kind of go with it. So um, let's just group it up and make it a spike trap. Lasso select would be nice, but I can live without it. So let's group these together and then select the group to JSON. Let's grab the big old chunk of JSON it spits out. And then spike trap set piece 0. 2. They want to put it after this one for 3. Okay, that's fine. This is spike trap set piece 3, I believe. Make sure I added a comma, a trailing comma, because that would be good. I did not. So let's make sure I don't break our JSON, because that's important to not do that. And let's see what it looks like when I place it. Place entity, tipple sets, spike trap set piece 3. And yep, so it looks like the last position is screwed up, so let's fix that. Yeah, usually it tends to be something like minus 1.5 and 1.5, just from experience, or it's one or the other. Let's see if I add it. Nope. Okay, let me flip that. Yep, cool. So that's exactly what we wanted. And then there we go. Nice. So let's make sure we're actually using this in places. So let's go up here, grab that. Let's look at where these other ones are used. So it is included in this outer, so I want it here. And it is also included in the general 4x4 set of spike trap sets. So let's put it there too. Okay, it's nice. Let's look at look, chat's been chatty. Let's see it like the spike column. It looks crazy. Yeah, I like the spike column too. It's super aggressive and it's nice. Yeah, so Tetsuko is suggesting maybe tie the level up system to like a specific location, like how the Dark Souls has campfires. That might be interesting. Um, Chris is wondering, how is the arrow stacking fixed? Basically, when you buy stuff from the shops now, we just spawn it in a circle around you, so the items just don't get stacked on top of each other. Um, Yep, so that should be fixed. So what else? So I was looking at this mixed trap set. So it just has an inner and an outer, and the inner has 2 options. The outer has 2 options. So that's 4 total combinations. What more could I do? And also the trap set, the crusher trap set 2x2, but there's no spikes 2x2. So it would be interesting to make 4x4 rooms that have like 2x2s or something like that. I don't know. Trying to think of interesting ideas. What else? I have like, so basically, I guess I try to keep my streams limited to 2 hours, just time box them, so I don't bore you guys to death. And it's 1:53 my time, Pacific Standard, Pacific Daylight, I forget which one we're in. Right now, so I have about 7 minutes. So if there are any dying questions you guys want to have answered before I stop the stream, feel free to ask. I'll just play a little bit, kind of on our way out. And just answer questions as I can. Oh, Chris was talking about actually having the things stack in your inventory automatic and not picking them up. Okay, yeah, that's an issue. I will go ahead and log a bug on it. Um, Actually, I'll just jump into the ruins areas just to play that. So uh, I'm again testing what I've just been working on, and that way I can show what I've been working on as well. Um, yeah, I will fire a I'll file a bug on the stacking arrows issue. 'Cause I think arrows are the only real item in the game that stacks. So it's kind of like a one-off thing we haven't put a lot of effort into. So Flying Fish is saying, will there be any chance of peeking corners with a bow and arrow bouncing? Is there any change to the peeking corners with a bow and the arrow bouncing back and killing you? So no. So right now, how that works is actually I could probably demonstrate it with almost any object that's pick upable, like this bread. I think I can. Um, it used to be that you can actually fling stuff hard enough to actually hurt yourself. Like you could. Let me see if I can do it right. Like you can. Uh, yeah, let me try this. So yeah, it used to be with certain objects, like with a skull, you could like wind. I think some junk. Like even try spawning a junk item, see if that's the case. Uh, uh, a book. I think a book would count. I think you can. So with these, you can wind them up, and I think you can actually hurt yourself if you get it just right. Yeah. So what happens is physics objects moving fast enough can hurt you, and arrows just happen to be physicsy objects, um, and they bounce off a wall and kill you. I think the issue right now is that the bounding box for an arrow is just is literally a axis aligned box. So it doesn't really take into account the rotation of the arrow. So sometimes just the angle is not great, and the box is going to like collide with edges when you think it wouldn't. And I think we do need to tweak that. I'm not sure if that means we just need to make the bounding box smaller on the arrows or what. Because right now all of our collisions are axis aligned and not actually like nice rotating like rigid bodies or anything like Unity has. I'm also going to level up so I don't die immediately too. Melee. Okay. Um, yeah, yep. Thank you for the kind words, Chris. Chris is just complimenting us on the amount of work we've done, and it's looking good. Yeah, thank you. I've been trying to get this update out as quickly as I can and in as good of shape as I can, so folks are happy with it. And because I know that we haven't updated in a year, there's concern from the community that the project is abandoned. And I mean, to a degree, my streaming has um, I guess reassured people that we haven't abandoned it, but still some folks just look at that day since last update and it's like been a year, so they just assume it's been abandoned, don't even look at what I'm trying to communicate. So after the Testicle is asking, after the next update, will it be adding more enemies and weapons? Um, so in my mind, how it's working right now is I would like I think the next update we're going to focus on getting the UI shored up so it's correct. We're also going to focus on I want to make more VFX stuff. I want to have more cool like fire effects. I want to make the magic stuff really pop. I want to have like really nice looking explosions and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to focus on. I'm also going to tidy up some stuff here and there, just across the board. And then I think before like for the final release, I would like to have a content bump where I do just add a lot more items and enemy variants. Uh, okay, so I can't talk and play at the same time. Da, 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 da. Physical, yep. And then Chris is saying, yeah, we could use a sphere collision. But yeah, right now he's assuming that all collision is done with AAVBs, and he is 100% correct. Everything is just a simple X-aligned bounding box. So for those of you who don't know what an X-aligned bounding box is it's a it's a it's we define like when I walk into this box, it stops me, and it has a thing called a collider or like a collision box on it that prevents you from moving into it. But instead of being able to rotate it, its dimensions are just defined by points on the x and y plane in the world sense, not in the relative to the box. So we can, I mean, for most things, this works really well. Like, we've used it for years, and it hasn't been too big of an issue. It's just the arrows are the one tricky spot where people get tripped up. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know about the arrows. Like, I'd like to fix them, but I just don't know how much effort we have to put into that, you know? I'm just trying to be really tactical with our time. Uh, Flying Fish is suggesting having a shovel um, sticking out of the dirt on the death screen. Oh yeah, I'd like to, like again, like before we ship the final version, do it like a polish patch on some of like the death screen, the windscreen, stuff like that to make it a little bit more interesting. Um, Aobit is asking, is this a hobby project, not a full-time job? Correct. So there are two of us working on this project. Chad is a full-time senior software engineer at a company in San Francisco, and that takes up a lot of his time. I am a stay-at-home dad, so the majority of my time is spent with my son. And this is a new development. Before that, I was also a software engineer at Microsoft, and that was a very demanding day job. So I didn't have, so basically, between my wife being pregnant and working at Microsoft, my work on Delver was very far and few between this last year. But now that I am our new trap we just made. Now that I'm a stay-at-home dad, I do have more time to work on Delver. So basically, a lot of this work, these past like 2 months, I have gotten done. I've gotten done like because like my son is asleep and he is like sleeping on my chest, and I have a standing desk behind me. You can kind of see to the left of the frame of my head, and I work on my standing desk when he's asleep and he's on me. But yeah, we're a small team. It's a passion project. Um, like we have no budget to do this. We have no time to do this, but we're doing our best to make it happen. Eventually, I would like to work on maybe a project full time someday, but I don't know when that would be. But that would be, it's kind of my dream right now is to have a chance to work on um, a full time project, and hopefully you folks like what I do enough to maybe support me when that time comes. So Dr. Kegel says, stupid idea, place a magic spell in front of the camp spawn point, which provides an infinite shield, but do not commit the changes. Oh, so he's talking about being able to debug by making myself invincible. Um, yeah, that is a thing too. I mean, it would. I guess we could just also just hard code it so you can't die. But yeah, um, yeah. Right now, I mean, dying is good in a way that I get a sense of how hard an area is. Also, you guys gave me great feedback too about how difficult an area is. Because again, I don't want necessarily like a nice linear progression of difficulty. I kind of like maybe terraced is kind of a better way to think of difficulty progression. Um, da, 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 da. So another one he just remembered is getting killed with Iron Skin Magic Shield on. It happened quite a few times now. Yeah, so magic, if you got magic from the scaly mages, like magic's pretty a fickle thing. Like it can do a lot of damage or it can do next to none, which is kind of cool, but it's also kind of frustrating at times too. Um, yeah. Da, 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 da. Aobet says, "Well, the money was well spent for you. Hopefully, you see nice sales when it's finished." Thank you. Yeah, the sales would be nice. And that would help me keep doing this. But I'm definitely not doing this for the money. I'm doing this simply because I think it's a really cool project, and I'm really grateful that Chad brought me on board, and I'm able to do it. Um, and it seems the game seems to make some other people happy too. So um, that's also a nice thing. Yeah, it kind of it's a weird thing being a developer. Like it kind of like for example, there's a post on the Steam forums if somebody was asking me, or they're asking if it's worth purchasing. And I don't answer those questions because I'm the developer, right? I have a very biased opinion. Like, yes, you definitely should buy my game, but I want to see what the community and how they respond is because right now we are priced at uh, uh, basically $8 US, um, which I think is a very fair price. For me, I can't even buy a movie ticket at that price. Where I live, movie tickets are about $10 um, as a matinee, maybe 12, 13 at a regular showing. Um, and we provide, I think, more gameplay than a movie. It's just pricing games is hard, right? Because people expect a lot of gameplay for not a lot of money. And so I've spoken to other developers on this uh, topic. I've spoken to other to game players as well. And I don't know, like what I could do is the cheap thing, right? I could just double all the areas in the game, and I could just do color changes on the textures and call it a day. I could probably do that within a day, and there would be double the content. But it's not really double, right? It's just a new slap of paint, and it's not really different in any meaningful way. And I don't know if people would like that um, or not. Personally, I'm leaning towards not because right now I would prefer something that plays a little bit shorter, but is a little bit more like variety across it. But I'm curious to hear what you folks think. Chris is asking, are the bushes new? Yeah, the bushes are new. Um, Basically, Chad created breakable sprites, and he added these in as a test. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them or not. I don't know if I like them, but it is cool that we now support breakable sprites. Um, it's another tool in our bag to make cool gameplay and for the modders to use for when making their mods. Um, Elbit says it's the closest thing to the feeling of Ultimate Underworld experience in years, which is nice. Yeah, we're a big fan of. I'm a big fan myself of like the Ultimate Underworld and also like the Looking Glass games. I think they were really had a cool feel. This is definitely not an immersive sim, but um, that is definitely part of the things in my brain, in the back of my brain when I work on this stuff. Stuff like Ultima Underworld and Daggerfall, um, Doom, even to an extent, because this definitely is more shooty than on the spectrum of like RPG to shooter. I think it does kind of fall maybe in the middle, or maybe more towards the shooty part of things than the actual heavy RPG part of things. But I think that's okay. Um, Flying Fish says he's enjoyed it because this is the first time he sees it going from a prototype to where it is now. Um, yeah, that's cool. Actually, and we you still can go to there's a forum post where Chad started the project, and you can actually see where I start chiming in on the thread, and I start modding, essentially modding the project because it was a jar file. I could unzip it and change the assets, and it's because I was modding it he liked what I was doing and he contacted me. And eventually, that's how I got pulled onto the project. And it's really kind of cool to watch that, over time change. Okay, I think it's past 2 o'clock. Um, I think it's been a productive stream. Thank you, everyone, for showing up and motivating me to stay on task, and giving me good feedback. What works, what doesn't work. I certainly appreciate that. I thank you so much for your support, both just like financially for buying the game and also just for being here. If you do want to, if you want to follow me and what I'm up to, you can follow me on Twitter, which is at Joshua Skelly. You can follow me on Twitch. Same thing, Joshua Skelly on Twitch. Because I do some every Sunday I do a development stream, and I kind of talk about what I've been doing, and we just do some work and take questions from the chat. But also at random times throughout the week, I do a bonus development stream, and these are not scheduled; they happen last minute. But if you do follow me on Twitter or Twitch, those are how you get notified of those. But if you can't catch a stream, don't worry. I do archive these. I send them up. I send them out to my YouTube page, which I don't have a fancy URL yet for. I think you have like a certain number of followers, and I don't have that many followers on my YouTube page because it's basically just an archive of all of these. But I think that's all the pieces of business. Oh, once again, the asset freeze or for this upcoming update, today is the day. Like I'll get as much done as I can get done today, and then we will start making builds and updating Steam and hopefully other platforms, but I can't confirm that. Um, so again, thank you for your support, and I will see you guys next Sunday.